The golden arches of McDonald's gleamed against the afternoon sun, the air buzzing with chatter, laughter, and the clatter of trays. Families filled the booths, students crowded in lines, and the smell of fries and sizzling patties drifted through the air. Among the crowd, one girl rolled quietly in, her presence almost unnoticed at first. Her wheelchair glided smoothly across the tiles, the rubber wheels squeaking softly. She had long dark hair that cascaded over her shoulders, a pale face that carried both innocence and a shadow of pain, and eyes that seemed to observe everything yet say nothing. This was Ayesha, the new girl in town. She had moved here just a week ago, her life already complicated enough without what was about to unfold. She only wanted a simple meal and maybe, if luck allowed, a peaceful afternoon. But peace was the last thing she was about to find. At the far end of the restaurant, a group of wealthy college kids lounged in their designer clothes, their expensive sneakers propped arrogantly on the chairs, their laughter echoing too loudly. Leading the group was Hamza, the son of a business tycoon, his wrist decorated with a gold watch, his hair perfectly styled, his voice loud enough to demand attention. He thrived on the eyes of others, on the applause of his friends, and on mocking anyone who didn't fit into his narrow world of privilege. The moment Hamza noticed Ayesha, his smirk widened. He nudged his friends, pointing at her wheelchair as though it were the funniest thing he'd seen all day. Well, look at this. McDonald's is really letting anyone roll in these days," he said, loud enough for the tables around to hear. His friends burst out laughing, their voices carrying across the restaurant. Ayesha froze. Her fingers tightened around the wheels of her chair, her heart pounding. She had heard whispers before, felt stares pierce her back in hallways, but nothing so public, nothing so sharp. She lowered her eyes and moved forward, determined to ignore them. But Hamza wasn't finished.
"Hey, careful!"
he shouted mockingly as she rolled past his table.
"Don't scratch the floor with those tires!"
"Maybe you should park outside with the bikes." His friends roared again, slapping the table, some even pulling out their phones as if waiting to record her humiliation. Ayesha's throat burned. She wanted to say something, anything, but the words got stuck behind the lump in her chest. She reached the counter, her trembling hands fumbling with her purse. The cashier, a young boy barely older than her, looked uncomfortable, glancing nervously between Ayesha and the group that mocked her. The air was heavy with awkwardness, with cruelty disguised as humor. Hamza stood up now, striding toward her with fake concern dripping from his voice. "Hey, let me help you. What do you want? A Happy Meal? Oh wait, do they give discounts to special customers like you?" He bent down, mocking her eye level, his grin wide and poisonous. Gasps spread from nearby tables. Some people turned their heads away, ashamed of what they were witnessing, but unwilling to intervene. Others watched silently, captivated by the cruelty, as though this were entertainment. Ayesha's cheeks flushed crimson. She wanted the ground to open and swallow her whole. The humiliation was unbearable. She tried to push past him, but Hamza stepped in front of her, blocking her path deliberately. He grabbed her tray from the counter before she could reach it. "Oops, let me hold this for you. Wouldn't want you to drop it, right? Your hands must be tired from all that rolling." The laughter behind him grew louder, harsher, and Ayesha felt her chest tighten until it was hard to breathe. For a moment she closed her eyes, remembering her old town, where she had once been just a normal girl before the accident. The car crash had taken her ability to walk, but worse than that, it had introduced her to a cruel world that judged her for it every single day. Her voice finally broke through the silence, soft but firm. "Give me back my tray." Hamza tilted his head, pretending not to hear. "What was that? Speak up, Wheels. Give it back," she repeated, louder this time, though her voice shook. He leaned closer, his grin spreading. "Or what? You'll run me over?" The restaurant fell into a suffocating silence. The only sound was the fryers hissing in the background. Ayesha's hands clenched into fists, her nails digging into her palms, her eyes burning with unshaded tears. The helplessness was crushing. She wanted to scream, to fight back, but her body betrayed her, bound to the chair that made her an easy target for monsters like him. And just when the tension reached its peak, the door swung open. The crisp sound of boots against tile echoed as a tall figure walked in. His posture was commanding, his shoulders broad, his presence instantly demanding respect. He wore the uniform of the Pakistan Air Force, the blue fabric pressed neatly, the insignia gleaming proudly. His cap was tucked under his arm, his jaw sharp, his eyes piercing with authority. Conversations died instantly as people turned to look. Hamza froze mid-sentence, his cocky grin faltering as the officer's gaze locked onto him. Ayesha looked up too, her heart skipping a beat as hope flickered inside her. The officer's voice was calm yet carried the weight of thunder. "What's going on here?" Hamza tried to laugh it off, stepping back from Ayesha. "Oh, nothing, sir. Just having some fun with a friend." The officer's eyes narrowed. Fun. He looked at the tray in Hamza's hand, then at the girl in the wheelchair, her trembling evident even from across the room. His jaw tightened, his voice dropping low. "That doesn't look like fun to me. That looks like bullying." Hamza swallowed hard, his friends shrinking back in their seats. For the first time, his confidence cracked, replaced by nervous laughter. "No, no, sir, you've got it wrong. We were just joking." The officer stepped closer, his boots striking the floor like warning shots. "Do I look like I'm laughing?" The silence was deafening. The entire restaurant had stopped breathing, all eyes glued to the scene unfolding before them. Ayesha stared at the officer, her eyes wide, a tear slipping down her cheek, not from sadness this time, but from relief. For the first time in a long time, someone had stood up for her. Someone had shattered the silence that usually enabled cruelty. The officer reached for the tray in Hamza's hand, his grip firm as he pulled it away. Without breaking eye contact, he placed it gently on Ayesha's lap. "Here you go, miss." The kindness in his tone contrasted sharply with the steel in his eyes when he turned back to Hamza. "And you. Apologize." "Now," Hamza stammered, his throat dry.
I said apologize."
The officer barked, his voice reverberating across the walls, making even the staff behind the counter flinch. Hamza's face turned red with humiliation, but under the weight of that gaze he had no choice. He lowered his head, his voice barely audible. "I'm sorry." Ayesha blinked in shock, the apology sounding hollow but still surreal. Never had she imagined that the boy who tormented her could be forced into silence, into submission, in front of everyone. The officer crouched slightly, his voice softening as he addressed Ayesha directly. "Don't let people like him make you feel small. Your strength is greater than you realize." For the first time that day, Ayesha felt seen, not as a girl in a wheelchair, not as a victim, but as a person worthy of respect. As Hamza slunk back to his table, humiliated and silent, the officer straightened, his presence filling the room once again. He turned to the crowd, his eyes scanning the silent witnesses who had done nothing. "And the rest of you, remember, silence in the face of cruelty makes you just as guilty. Don't be bystanders. Be better." The words cut deep, shaming the crowd into lowering their eyes. And just like that, everything had changed.